Season 4. This episode is entitled What You Feed Grows. Have you ever looked up one day and realized something had grown without you even noticing? And it doesn't have to be something tangible. It doesn't have to be a thing or a plan. It could be a habit. It could be a belief. It could be a friendship. It could be a fear, a goal, a dream, a purpose, a business idea, a creative idea, a relationship, a romantic relationship, a worry, a dream. And growth rarely happens all at once. It happens little by little, day by day, second by second, nanosecond by nanosecond, choice by choice, moment by moment. And whether we realize it or not, every day we are feeding something. We are feeding our thoughts. We are feeding our habits. We are feeding our priorities. We are feeding our relationships. We are feeding our goals. We are feeding our distractions. We're not even going to talk about social media and even binging on Netflix. And all of this made me wonder, what am I consistently and constantly feeding? And is it producing the kind of growth and fruit from the roots I actually want? So, as we continue walking the garden, today we're exploring a lesson every gardener eventually learns. What we feed grows. Hey, y'all, I am Madison Samone Chase, also known as Miss Chase. I was raised in church, and my faith journey has always been at the center of who I am. And I'm incredibly thankful to have been raised by a hardworking, sacrificial, high performing single mother who remains my biggest fan and my forever bestie, my best friend, my BFF. And honoring God through service and making my mama proud and using the gifts he gave me has always been deeply important to me. And over the past several seasons of Cut to the Chase at 8, now C2TC8 Her Circle, which stands for High Performing Empowered Women Who Are Ready to Thrive, we've talked about awareness, detox, discernment, boundaries, the No More Nice series, and the difference between being kind versus being nice, rebuilding, and becoming. But as I entered this next season, season 4, I found myself thinking less about what needed to be removed and more about what needed to be cultivated. Because before a gardener plants for the next season, they walk the garden. The gardener takes inventory. They notice what flourished. They notice what struggled. They notice what produced fruit. They notice what never took root. They noticed what needs pruning. And most of all, they notice what has completed its purpose. And that's what season 4 is all about, walking the garden and taking an honest, introspective look at people, places, and things in our lives, which is the PPT audit, people, places, and things. And looking at those people and places and things, not with judgment, not with shame, not with condemnation, but with wisdom, because every person, every place, and everything produces fruit. And before we ask for a bigger harvest, we may need to take a closer look at the roots. So whether you're a mother, a single mother, a high performing single mother, or a high performing single father, a caretaker, an entrepreneur, aspiring entrepreneur, working a 9 to 5 job, juggling 2 or 3 jobs, quietly rebuilding, or simply trying to grow through life one season at a time, this space and this circle is for you. So if you're listening and or watching, pull up a real chair or a digital chair and grab yourself a cup of hot or cold herbal tea, and welcome to my cozy home of Cut to the Chase at 8. Now C2TC8 Her Circle, which again stands for High Performing Empowered Women Who Are Ready to Thrive Circle. A 15-minute micro learning moment for macro living transformations. And I am truly overjoyed that you are here. Now let's take one breath together to open this episode. We're going to inhale for 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One of the most overlooked truths in gardening is that growth responds to attention. A gardener doesn't accidentally grow a thriving garden. The gardener waters, the gardener knows that there are weeds, the gardener nurtures, and the gardener pays attention. And over time, what receives consistent care will grow. It will begin to grow. And that growth is sometimes slow. Oftentimes it's slow. And the same principle applies to our lives. Whatever consistently receives our time, our attention, our energy, our spirit, and focus often grows. If we feed healthy habit grows. If we feed unhealthy habits, unhealthy habits grow. If we feed gratitude, gratitude grows. If we feed resentment, resentment grows. If we feed confidence, confidence grows. If you feed insecurity, insecurity grows. If we feed fear, fear grows. If we feed anxiety and depression, it grows. And the question isn't whether something is growing. The question is, what am I feeding? And as high performers, we often focus on what we need to start. But sometimes the more important question is, what am I reinforcing every single day, every month, every year, every second by second? Because growth is rarely determined by one big decision. More often, it's shaped by repeated micro habits, small decisions every single day, and the conversations we engage in, the content we consume, the movies we watch, the music we listen to, the people we spend time with, the habits we repeat, the language we repeat, the thoughts we rehearse, the goals we nurture, and the distractions we entertain. Every day we are feeding something. And eventually, whatever we're feeding begins producing fruit. And this isn't about perfection, it's about awareness. Because once we become aware of what we're feeding day after day, week after week, moment by moment, we can become more intentional about what we cultivate, who we cultivate with, and what environments are we cultivating in. And what brings us to today's PPT audit: people, places, and things. Who am I consistently giving my time and energy to? People. And who out of those people are reciprocating your effort? And then who encourages your growth? And then sometimes you have to be mindful of, are you encouraging someone that isn't encouraging you? Are you pouring into someone that isn't pouring into you? And then who drains your growth? Who expects you to only focus on their goals and their dreams? And then who helps you become the person you want to become? Places. What environments feed your peace? What environments feed your stress? What environments support your growth? And what environments consistently distract you from your priorities and your purpose? Things. What habits am I feeding? And think about your daily habits. Are you consistently negatively talking about yourself? Are you consistently allowing people to speak things over you that don't agree with what your purpose is? And then what thoughts are you feeding? Are you feeding negative thoughts? Are you feeding positive thoughts? And then what goals are you feeding, and what are you doing day by day to work towards them? And then what distractions are you feeding? Are you on social media looking at things that have nothing to do with you? And then what deserves more of our attention and what deserves less? Which brings us to the SAC challenge. This week, spontaneous, authentically assertive communication challenge is about intentional attention. Intentional attention. And maybe it sounds like I'm choosing to focus on what aligns with my goals, that no longer serves my energy, what no longer deserves my energy, and what serves my energy. And also, I need to spend less time feeding, filling the blank, whatever that may be. And I'm becoming more intentional with my attention. And intentional, it's a word that people often use, but intentional is an action verb. Like there should be action behind your intent. So if there's no action behind your intent, when you say that you are intentional to do something, then the question is, are you intentional? Or perhaps I want to spend more time feeding what I want to grow. And perhaps stewardship isn't because you're just about managing the resources. It's about deciding what receives your resources and your energy. And our resources can be our time. Resources aren't just necessarily money. Resources can be the people that you know, the places that you're willing to connect people to. Those are your resources as well. And then it's about deciding what receives your resources and your energy and or your time, because your time is also your resource. This brings me to key number 1. Let's talk about the 3 keys. Key number 1, what receives consistent attention tends to grow. And the question is, what do you want to grow? What in your life are you focused on growing? And for me, this lived example is I've been in this community, and it's a community, an online community, and they encourage you to support other people in the community. And I realized that I was so focused on supporting other people in the community that I was not focused on the things that I needed to focus on for myself. So when I pulled back from commenting and engaging and encouraging everyone else, I was like, sometimes you have to encourage yourself. And that is the space that I'm in. Key number 2, not everything that grows actually deserves to. And awareness and discernment and being prayerful and journaling, that can help us recognize what we're unintentionally feeding. And vice versa. Awareness can help us understand and recognize what we are intentionally feeding. Which brings me to key number 3. Stewardship is deciding what receives our time, attention, energy, and focus in our heart. And stewardship is also, when you make a decision, it is also an action. So is there action behind the things that you steward and the things that you say you are important to you? Which brings me to the 1 reflection question. What am I consistently feeding, and is it producing the kind of growth I actually want? And I want you to think about your health, your spirit health, your mind health, your mental health, your body health, your career, the career that you make money doing, and then the career that you're passionate about. And then your relationships, the romantic relationships, the friendship relationships, even group text messages, anywhere that you spend your time. And then your finances. And if you're a high performing parent who has multiple kids that are involved in multiple things. And then caregiving responsibilities. Are there opportunities for you to lessen your burden, your physical burden as a caregiver? And are people offering to assist you and walk with you through that journey? A business or entrepreneurial goal, because every day we are feeding something. And the question is whether it's helping us grow in the direction we desire or not. Today we explored a lesson every gardener eventually learns. What you feed grows, not immediately, not dramatically, not overnight, but consistently over time. And while we can't always control the timing of growth, we can often influence what receives our attention. And this week, pay attention to what you're feeding, the habits, the thoughts, the relationships, the goals, the distractions, because eventually those things will produce fruit. And the fruit often reveals what we have been nurturing all along. And before we go, let's revisit today's 3 keys. Number 1, what receives consistent attention tends to grow. Key number 2, not everything that grows deserves to. Key number 3, stewardship is deciding what receives our time, attention, energy, and focus. And our reflection question, what am I consistently feeding, and is it producing the kind of growth and fruit I actually want? And I want you to sit with that question, pray about it, journal about it, be silent with it, and see what comes up for you. And remember, every day we are feeding something. Every day we are reinforcing something. Every day we're cultivating something. The question is whether we're doing it intentionally. So continue to give yourself grace. Let's take one closing breath. We're going to inhale for 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If this episode pricked your heart or lit a spark, please subscribe and share this podcast with someone you care about, and leave a comment so that this becomes a dialogue and not a monologue. And if you feel led, please leave a 5-star review so that this episode can continue to grow and serve others. Until next time, I am Madison Samone Chase, and this has been another episode of Cut to the Chase at a C2TC8 H.E.R Circle, which stands for High Performing Empowered Women Who Are Ready to Thrive. It is a 15-minute micro-learning moment for macro living transformations. And remember, episodes come out generally on the 15th of every month. I will be taking a break for the month of July, and new episodes will not be loading, or I won't be recording new episodes until August 15th. And so remember, roots don't ask for applause while they are growing. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you later today.